So there are a couple reasons why changing net neutrality rules is really stupid. So the first reason why considers the cost to serve you internet. The argument is that if you're using more internet on your your service, I can't find my there it is. If you're using more internet, you're costing your ISP more money. Well, that is incorrect. So here's my ISP. Okay, my ISP is using an ADSL connection. Let's say they're serving up bandwidth, all these homes. Cool. Home number 1 just uses email. Home number 2 just watches Netflix, and home number 3 is let's just say they're a streamer, right? And let's say they're high profile business class streamer. It doesn't cost the ISP any more money to service. The cost to roll out the connection of these people is equal, right? This guy is using all of his bandwidth all of the time. I can't draw an arrow. Here we go. All of it. So we'll give him 3 arrows, all the bandwidth. Okay. This guy, he's only using some of his bandwidth. And this person, this guy, he's barely using any of his bandwidth. Okay. It doesn't cost the ISP any more money to provide service for this user than it does for these 2 other users. Because when an ISP is rolling out a connection, a service, they target a bandwidth and then they set up all of their equipment to reach that bandwidth, especially for ADSL, AT&T, etc. Now, ISP number 2, ISP2 is using a DOCSIS style connection, and that's your Comcast, that's your Suddenlink, that's your Charter, and their setup is a little bit different. See, ADSL, it offers a dedicated connection between the ISP node and your home. ISP2, shit, where's my cursor? I can't find it. Fuck. Okay. ISP2 is serving up a DOCSIS connection. DOCSIS and ADSL. This is a dedicated connection. This is more of a distributed connection. So if every single person is hitting the network as hard as they can all the time, there's going to be some packet loss. DOCSIS is a standard that assumes that not everyone will be hitting the network all the time, and they can offer up more bandwidth. This has to distribute the bandwidth equally, and this can distribute it unfairly. Both of these ISPs, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't cost. If there was a guy over here and he's only getting a little bit, it wouldn't cost ISP2 any more money to serve up these 3 people than it does serve up this guy, because his network infrastructure, the ISP's network infrastructure, is the same. Okay, pretty simple. They roll out an infrastructure, and then they serve up your information, and that's it. It doesn't cost them more money because you're hitting their infrastructure anymore, because they've already planned out to hit that target infrastructure. They've assumed everyone's going to be hitting, in terms of ADSL, they assume, okay, everyone's going to use their bandwidth. Everyone's going to use the 10 meg. ISP2, yeah, they fudge it a little bit. They assume that they have a more distributed approach. There's a one line run out to a cluster of people, and they all kind of they all get a share of that line. So if you're using DOCSIS style connection, your DOCSIS standard of connection, you're not going to be there's especially peak hours, right when school lets out, right about 6:37, you're going to get a little bit of packet loss, especially if the ISP hasn't properly accounted for the distributed connection, which can happen. Cool. So that's the first argument. it costs the ISPs more money for you to stream Netflix. That's not true. That's a lie. Even if you want to talk about like electricity costs, it's not like the infrastructure hardware these people have can handle your Netflix stream. And let's put it that way. So that's that. And how big can I make it? Can I make it any bigger? I used to be able to make it bigger. I don't want to have to just... I think I'll make a big white square. That's not a big white square. Fill. Solid color. Now I got a big white square. Cool. This is good. And I'm just going to delete this, and delete this, and delete this, and delete that. Cool. Right. So, there's also this idea that Netflix itself as an entity that requires an ISP costs an ISP more money. Well, the problem here is that, let's say you've got this big, oh shit, you've got this big, that's not what I wanted. You've got this big old data center. This is a Netflix data center. Cool. They've got a big fat fucking line from like AT&T. They've got a huge, gigantic fucking line. This very strong line that they get from a network service provider. Let's say it's AT&T. Oh, there's an A here. I might have Down syndrome, I don't know. Cool. This is Netflix. I'll just write net here. It's Netflix. They get all this. This is their line, and they pay a fucking shitload of money for this line. They pay for it. AT&T to come and make this line to AT&T's network. For AT&T to serve up all of these different nodes. And these other data centers. In different towns. Cool. Netflix. Alright, and Google's the same way. So Google's got this fat fucking line. This giant line. And Google's got their own data centers. So Google's got shitloads, so they've got shitloads of these, and they all have lines to each other, and it's all one big clusterfuck. So, Google's got this giant line to all of their data centers, and this is Google. What is that, Nick? Alright. That's Google. Okay. And then Google's got their own infrastructure lines to all their own data centers that they pay for to be put down by fiber optics companies, I'm sure. Pay good fucking money for it. It doesn't cost AT&T any more money to serve up Netflix because Netflix is already paying for this line. So it doesn't cost AT&T any more money for you to use Netflix under net neutrality. It doesn't matter. Netflix is already paying AT&T a shitload of money for that connection. Okay, so that's why this whole idea of net neutrality being hurtful to the business is really stupid, because there's no point behind it. It's a copper line. It's a dumb copper line that goes into your house like water or electricity. It's just a dumb line that gives you information in theory. And that's why net neutrality is important, because it just says you're basically a big router for these guys to get information from. That's all it is. Net neutrality doesn't cost these businesses any more money. It doesn't cost them any more money for you to max out your connection. It's all a bunch of shit. And then a lot of these companies will charge you data overages. So if they allot you, we'll allot you 250 meg or gig. You can download 250 gigabytes of information, then we're going to charge you per 10 gig or whatever. That's horseshit too, because again, they're paying a flat rate to roll out the infrastructure. And once it's rolled out, there's minimal maintenance costs. So the cost for an ISP is mostly in rollout and a little bit of maintenance. Now, if they have to run a line out to your house, obviously, again, that's an upfront cost, but mostly they charge you an install fee. So again, if you're maxing out your connection to an ISP, it's really not costing them any more money because they've already rolled out the infrastructure to give you that connection. You're just using it. So there's no point. It really is stupid. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or a liberal or a conservative, or you believe that Hillary Clinton is a lizard person who's coming to eat all of our babies. Net neutrality is just common sense.